imagine being involved in a car accident. My guest today, it happened 7 years ago. 4 people actually died in that accident, and she was badly burned, got third-degree burns, and it was a tough time recovering from that. But she did, and she has, in fact, she's gone on to become an ambassador and an advocate of road safety. She's founded an organization called Road Accident Survivors Campaign Initiative, or RASCI. And she always talks to victims and survivors of road accident and wants to make sure that people are safe on our roads, because we all know road accidents are rising every year, and it's all because of human error for the most part. So Susan Wahu Ndonga joins us live in the studios today. Good morning, Susan. Welcome to Hot 96.
Good morning, Jeff.
How you doing?
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. And my goodness, what a story! What a story! Let's take it from that day. What you said it was December
20th, 2015. So it's 7 years ago.
Go on.
So flash forward to that day. I was just going to get some chicken. My mom had sent me. So she normally texts me, but that day she was like, I'll drop you and then I'll come take you after you're done with the preparation of the chicken, because it takes a while. So there I am at the stage. I wait for a bus, forward traveler. It was on Jugo Road. So I get into the bus and it was nom. And what struck me was the fact that people were in excess. So I remember in my mind thinking, wow, there's so many people hanging on the rail, but I'm still like, okay, it's none of my business because I'm just going to get chicken. So there we are. We moved like 10, not even 10 kilometers, just like a few kilometers. And all I heard in my head was just a very loud voice. Boom. So in my head, I'm like, where has this come from? And then immediately it starts to get very hot. And I'm like, whoa, what is happening? So I realized the bus we were in was on fire.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's covered with fire. People are screaming. People are shouting. So luckily I had sat behind. And people are just coming behind and trying to knock out the emergency door. And back then, the reason why it's called an emergency door, it's supposed to be like easily breakable, but it wasn't. And there was this guy who was trying to break it. So the whole bus then, the fire start getting even worse. So what I did personally, I was just like, whoa, it's hot, I can't breathe. So I had a jacket. So immediately I took my jacket and tried to cover my nose, because one of the guys who died because of internal inhalation of the fumes and smoke. So I am there, I'm trying to figure out how will I even get out of a burning matatu. And the thing is, the fire started right at the entrance, because again, flash forward to what we were told was someone got into the bus with a jerrycan of petrol. Yeah, and then placed it just right next to the batteries. And back then, the Mishuki laws and everything, they were still there but not activated like officially. So there I am, I'm almost giving up. But then when I was just down there, because the thing is, I really took my time to hide my eyes, because in my head I was like, if my eyes get burned, and that's it, that's what defines a person, the eyes. So I covered my eyes so much with my hand, and my right arm got really badly burned. But in the middle of all these, I'm there trying to think, I'm in shock, I can't breathe. So I go down, I peep again, I go down, I peep again. So in the middle of all that, I saw a window. And
are people screaming at this time?
Yeah,
people scrambling.
People are stepping on me, because what I chose, like I said, I went down because the whole bus is on fire. The even fire is channeling out of the windows. It was that bad. So I jump out of the window, and because I was like, if my head can fit here, my body will fit. The rest, I don't care, because I'm in shock, and it's so hot. So I jump out of the window, and immediately that's when now the whole adrenaline thing started just hitting me, and I'm screaming, I'm shouting. And then there were these guys, because the bus where it went and stopped was at a car wash. They really came through trying to bring down, to put off the fire. So I jump out, and the guy is trying to tell me, relax, madam, just look where you're from. And looking where I was from, the whole bus now, the fire had even become worse. And because of me jumping through the window, there was another woman who saw what I did, and she was a bit big. So upon doing that, she got stuck there. So her half body was out, the other body was inside. And then the emergency response started coming, ambulances coming, and we were rushed to Mama Lucy Hospital. That was the emergency response hospital. And that's when Good Samaritan giving out numbers. And I remember my parents coming for me. I wasn't even understanding what's happening, because it's like I went on a shock mode. And then I was taken to Metropolitan National Hospital in Buruburu. And
how badly were you burned at that point?
It was really bad on my face and my hand and my legs, behind my legs, because the way I jumped, I had to touch the window rails. So most part was my hand and my face. Yeah.
This woman who was stuck half in, half out, did she make it?
Yeah, she did, but she got really badly. Like her breasts were just on fire. Not like on fire, but yeah, it was really bad. Yeah.
So you end up at Metropolitan?
I end up at Metropolitan National Hospital. I am there, and I remember being taken to, again, the emergency rooms and being given drips, and because it's like I blacked out. My brain went on a freeze mode. And yeah, that's when the treatment started. They saw, my parents saw I wasn't healing, like the care there was still good, but they opted to take me to Aga Khan, and that's where the rest of the recuperating process and healing. I stayed 3 months in hospital.
3 months?
Yeah. Because the first month, it's like I couldn't talk. The whole shock thing just, I wasn't understanding anything, because it was just a normal day for me. I was going to buy chicken. So I think that shock made my brain just, I wasn't really talking so much. And yeah, and the healing process started.
But 7 years ago, you were what, in high school? Were you in...
I had just finished my diploma. I was already out of school. I was going to join my bachelor's. Actually, I just graduated the other day at Jomo Kenyatta University.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So I just finished my diploma. I was going to enroll for bachelor's, but I didn't immediately, because again, I had to take my time healing. And I mean, I am a woman, and having scars and embracing yourself and trusting in the healing process, it wasn't easy. But it was in the middle of all that where my foundation was born, because I tried to I went back actually and started thinking, so what really happened? So from my research, asking people around, it's when I got the story that someone had gotten into the matatu with a jerrycan of petrol. How ignorant of that. How do you get into a bus with a jerrycan of petrol? Even worse, I see these days, people still do go in the buses with gas cylinders.
Yeah.
And they're highly flammable. Anything can happen. And that's a machine. It has petrol, it has diesel. It can just be boom.
Yeah.
Like what happened to us then.
Tell me something. Okay, so you're home, you're recuperating. Oh, by the way, 7 years later, you can't tell that your face was burned. I'm looking at you right now, and obviously you will see in the video when we post it online. You can't tell that your face was burned.
Yeah.
Did you go through reconstructive surgery and all that, or grafting, or what happened?
No, I didn't do the grafting. What happened is I had like a really good doctor from India who just came in, and I don't know what he did, but it wasn't skin grafting. It was more of, they had to peel out my initial skin, because skin is in layers, right? So they had to like peel out the first layer, and then that's when I just started healing and medication and just eating well, drinking water. And honestly, the fire refined me. If you ask me, I tell people I'm just refined by the fire, because coming out on the other side, it has been an amazing journey. It wasn't at the beginning, of course, but with time, accepting and just moving on, because I was like, if I got saved, I mean, there has to be a reason, and hence my my passion for roads and just road safety in general.
But you did go through some depression, didn't you?
Yes, I had depression. I had PTSD, which I didn't realize it's PTSD. I had to see a therapy, and because I was anxious, and I could get into a bus later on, and immediately I smell like the fumes. I'm already starting to freak out. I could just tell the conductor, just stop the bus. I just want to alight.
Yeah.
And it happened a couple of times, but with time, realizing that, oh, there's something called trauma, because the whole thing caused something. Yeah, it's trauma. I went through a traumatic experience, but then I wasn't aware. But when I started seeing the therapist, she was like, this is what happened. There's something called PTSD. There's something called mental health. It's a lot that came with that. Yeah.
Okay, so how soon after did you begin this Road Accident Survivors Campaign Initiative, or RASKY?
It was 2 years down the line in 2017.
What made you do it? Was this just what gave you that passion to?
For me, it was surviving the accident really made me question why, because people died.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was not the only survivor, but I really questioned why, and I just figured maybe this was God's way of just turning my life around and just, using me as a vessel to just, save another person's life. And what I normally say is, if I can just reach out and someone can just hear me, just one person, I'm good. Because right now the number of road accidents, they are the leading killing agent of our youth. It's the lead globally, actually. And actually, last week at the Commonwealth meeting in Kigali, I happen to be a member of the Global Youth Coalition for Road Safety. So they recognize the need of involving the youth. Because the thing is, okay, you can blame us all you want. Because when it comes to drinking and driving, most of the people doing that are the youth. When it comes to overlapping, when I say the youth, the age bracket is between 16 to 40. That's still a youth, just basically a young person. So
and you speak to victims, right? You speak to survivors.
Yes, I do.
And what do they tell you? What are their stories?
Most of the common thing that I've figured out, the fault, and I'm not saying this because I'm trying to take a blaming someone or anything, but our drivers on the roads, may it be a matatu driver or may it be another driver. There's this thing we've normalized as Kenyans, and not even Kenya. I'm talking about Kenya because this is where I come from. This is where my accident happened, and this is where I have to start doing the change. It has to start from home, right? So a lot of our drivers are just incompetent. Let me just use that word.
Yeah. And indisciplined. And
the level of arrogance they have, it's crazy, because it's only in Kenya, not only in Kenya, but most in Kenya, you'll find a driver driving towards a person. They don't wait for you to cross the road. Even on a zebra crossing, I'm sure, if you observe, they're so in a hurry to just drive towards the person. Why? Why can't you just wait? And then the person passes, and then you can just continue with the journey. 2 minutes won't cost you anything. You see people overlapping. You overlap, you cause more traffic. You drink and drive, you put your life in danger and the next person. Especially for our young people. I mean, if it's a road trip, let's give an example of a road trip. You have money for the booze, you have money for the accommodation where you're going, but you don't have money to spare for a driver. It's probably hiring a driver is not that much, considering the kind of alcohol probably you're having. It's some good old whiskey or whatever. But why is it that we don't consider life so important. I tell people a car is not part of life. Yeah. The life is very crucial. A car is just a machine. It's not part of life.
And yet every weekend we see this, or every week, or every
there's
day.
an accident every freaking day.
Yeah.
Every day there's a road accident. And if you check the cause, if you analyze, it's the driver. Which brings me to another thing, issue in our driving licenses. There's this story that went viral a while ago, whereby we saw what normally happens, and I don't want to get into that. But our drivers, what is happening to our drivers? That's the main question I keep on asking. What is wrong with our drivers? Because that's the thing, it's the drivers. The level of ignorance. Since when did we normalize road accident? Right now, if you hear an accident, you'll be like, it's like a normal thing. It's not a normal thing, because right now, even in Kenya, over I saw the statistic on NTSA. So far, 2,000 people have died
This year.
only.
This year alone.
Yeah, this year alone. And those are the ones that have reached the statistic. They're those ones who just die probably in the hospital or on the way to recovery. Yeah.
And an average every year, more than 4,000 Kenyans are killed on the roads, right?
4,000. And globally, it's 4,000 to 13 million. Not 13. Yeah. Globally. Yes.
Good Lord.
In a year. And on all those people, it's a youth. I know I have a passion for youth. We've been killing each other. There's this song for Bob Marley that goes like, why are we killing each other? I feel like we're supposed to look out for each other, and the youth plays such a big role. Like, it's this generation that will pave way to the next generation. But if we're not careful, the next generation will find things so bad, like they will find overlapping is a normal thing.
Yeah.
And it's not.
And the other thing that really annoys me is people on the phone while driving. Huh?
You say it. I was about to say it, but it gets on my nerves, because the moment you distract yourself with a phone, already you're putting your life in danger and the next person. This is a machine. People don't understand. A car is a machine. It's not like say by Scaly, new machine. Any one wrong move, you could just end up dead.
And it takes a second, huh?
It's a second.
Yeah.
Like that fire, I know it wasn't, mine was more of human error, but generally all of these things, I call them human error. Mine, I was lucky enough it wasn't on a highway, because where the bus went and stopped was next to our car wash. So imagine if it was on a highway and the car is moving so fast.
You'd be dead.
The other thing is speed. Why are we in a hurry? To go where? Go die?
Yeah.
And then, the thing is, they're like, rush hour. I'm like, how do you even compare your human life with rush hour? You could be carrying a pregnant woman in the bus. This again brings me back to our public means of transport. You could be carrying a pregnant woman. She's in shock. You're there taking a swift corner. She's there trying to hold the bailey, or, it could be your mom. It could be your sister. And why are we even saying it could be your... For me, I say road safety starts with me and you.
Yeah.
It has to start with me and you. And it's so worse. You saw what happened at Mlolongo.
Terrible.
The guy was drunk. You know that?
He was drunk, huh?
He was drunk.
Yeah, the CCTV. I saw the CCTV footage.
He was drunk. So drinking and driving, all these things, little things that we have normalized, human error, I call it.
And also racing. I mean, why do people race? For instance, even on the expressway.
Where are you going? It's a 5 minutes drive. You want to get there in 1 minute? So there's this thing we have normalized as human beings. We're just too comfortable, and it has to stop. It just has to stop. It has to start somewhere. It has to start somewhere, but it has to stop. Because it's so sad when you see a young a young guy or a young lady who's just lost her life just like that, you know you're not supposed to die until you're a certain age. That's the rule of life, or that's how it is supposed to be. You're not supposed to die young, because there's this thing about the awareness. See, we have to make the awareness so, like, the same way we've normalized the road accident, it's the same way I've been trying to make it aware that it's disturbing. Like, don't be so comfortable, you know, and don't wait for your sister to lose your mom or your dad simply because, you know, you are overspeeding, especially speeding. Speeding, drinking and driving, all, like I said, human error, something that you know you're not supposed to be doing, but you still do it either way. Only for what? For someone to die. And the people affected are these young people. It's the next generation. We are needed. There's a reason as to why if you go to a conference, it's the youth. If you go to, it's youth. These us as a youth, we are playing a very big role in the next decades. We are the one to set the standards and the pace as to how we want the universe to just be going. It's us. It's this age bracket called youth. Yes, accidents can be avoided, Jeff. They can. We just need to be more serious and realize this is life. This it's not even a matter of water. It's life. It's life itself, and it's so precious. The car is just a car. It's not part of life, but people have made the car's part of the life, and it's not. It's just.
Have you lost friends to road accidents?
Yes, I have. Even friends of friends. I'm sure there's some people listening to me, and when I posted that picture, they were like, we're gonna tune in, and they were reaching out and telling me, by the way, even these motorcycle guys, I love boda. Trust me, they come through. I do love a good, safe boda ride, but again, they are causing so much menace on the road. We need to find solutions, which brings me down to road policies. The road policies in Kenya, they ain't that good. I'm not going to lie. The enforcement of the policies and the enforcement of the laws and regulations. It's one thing to say they are there. It's one thing to enforce them. And when you're found on the wrong, why don't we take these matters so seriously? Imagine losing your mom, Nini, and your life just gets messed up. Why wait for that long? Why don't we start now? Because I tell people, all we have is now. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. You know, last week I was coming from Thika to Nairobi. I saw like 4 accidents. Normally I stand and I really want to know what's wrong. It's drinking and driving. It's this guy was overtaking. What are you trying to prove? It's your life, Bana. Like, what we're serious? People are not serious with life. They're not. And that's why we are here as a country, because of the level of mediocrity we have allowed as a people. And we have so much power as a people.
Can we change that attitude? Can we change that mindset, Susan? Do you think? Can we?
Yeah, it can. I believe so, because the human mind, what you set your mind to, if you say you're gonna overlap, you'll still overlap. If you say I'm not gonna overlap, I'll follow the line, and you'll still get to where you are going. If you want to be somewhere early, wake up early. Get there on time. Don't wait now. You're trying to rush people. You're trying to overlap. You're trying to do this. Come on, guys. We can do better. We are such a beautiful country.
What advice would you give to someone, a victim of a road accident? You know, they've gone through what you did, trauma, PTSD, you name it, depression. What advice would you give them?
Life doesn't stop there. And no matter what life throws at you, you have to find it some way to just pick yourself up, dust yourself, and try and move on. It's not easy, because, I mean, maybe you've lost a leg. Maybe it's your eyesight. Maybe it's your hand. It's not going to be an easy journey. God knows mine was not. It it wasn't. The healing process was crazy, and not realizing that I'm going through trauma or something called depression. I didn't know all these things because I was young. I just used to hear them. So there's life that is more life.
Yeah. If people want to get in touch with you or your organization, Road Accident Survivors Campaign Initiative, how do they do that?
I'm on social media. Or my handle is at Wahu Foundation, and Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, I'm there. So my main agenda is the young people, and when I say the young people, I'm saying the teenagers, the high schools. So we are working on a program on talking to the young people and just going to schools and telling them that when you see this, when you do this happens. When you don't do this happens. Because like I said, it's easy to tell a young person, but an adult, to tell him not to overlap or her, it's a little bit tricky. So most of my talks when I do the talks, it's on high schools, and also primaries. That's the program we're working on with, currently working on with Alex Ayub, the National Youth Coordinator for Red Cross. So yeah, and many more other. Whenever I get a chance, even if I'm in an Uber or I'm in a car, I'll talk. Because for me it's very personal because of the road accident I went through.
Will you tell the Uber guy if he's speeding, if he's overlapping? Would you tell him?
Yes. I tell him, yo, you don't know me. I happen to be also a member of Motorist Association of Kenya. So I have my card, so I'll just pull up one and I'm like, don't do this. And I don't have to actually pull out the card. I tell them, yo, this is wrong. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. We need to start somewhere.
We need to go back to the drawing board.
We need to go back to basics.
Back to basics. Susan Mahundonga, thank you so much. And thanks for what you're doing for Road Accident Survivors Campaign Initiative, RASKY. Keep doing what you do.
You're welcome.
One day we will hear you. One day we will wake up.
Yeah.
Wow.